Given the economic downturn, many of the loans made by lenders these days require a personal guarantee in addition to a mortgage or other collateral pledged as security for the loan. A guarantee is a written pledge to pay the debt of another person or entity or to perform the borrower's obligations under the note and the other loan documents. The guarantor is usually a person or entity that is an owner or affiliate or family member of the borrower. If a guarantee signed by an individual who is married and lives in Wisconsin is subject to the Wisconsin Marital Property Act. I will be discussing how Wisconsin's Marital Property Act affects these credit transactions. I'll use an example to illustrate these issues. John and Mary are married. They live in Wisconsin. They own 3 properties: their home, which is marital property, and 2 investment properties owned and managed by Mary prior to marriage, which is Mary's individual property. John and Mary signed a marital property agreement years ago. John's Business LLC is the borrower who has applied for a loan with the bank. The LLC is the owner of a commercial property where John's bagel shop is located. John is the sole owner of John's Business LLC. Mary has no interest in the business. The bank is requiring a mortgage of the bagel shop from the borrower LLC. The bank is also requiring a guarantee from John of the loan. John has provided the bank's loan officer with a copy of the marital property agreement. John and Mary have contacted me with some questions about this loan and their property. First, the bank has requested that John sign, in addition to the guarantee, a separate written marital property statement from John that states that the guarantee is being entered into in the interest of his marriage and family. Why does the bank ask for this? Wisconsin law presumes that an individual guarantor who enters into a guarantee does so in the interest of marriage or family. If that presumption is correct and is not rebutted somehow, the bank can look to all of the marital property and all of the individual property of John to satisfy the obligations under the guarantee. This is a rebuttable presumption if there is a marital property agreement that is delivered to the bank prior to the making of the loan, and the marital property agreement restricts access to certain property. It's a conclusive presumption if the guarantor signs a written marital property statement just like the one the bank has asked John to sign. That is, by statute, the signed statement by John is conclusive evidence that John has agreed the transaction is in the interest of his marriage or family. This is why the bank always asks married Wisconsin guarantors to sign such an agreement. Unless marital property agreements are properly delivered to the bank, this makes the marital property of John and Mary available to the bank to satisfy the debt. In our example, the marital property agreement was given to the loan officer at the bank prior to the making of the loan and the signing of John's guarantee of the loan. So the marital property statement that John is being asked to sign will be limited by the content of the marital property agreement. For instance, if the marital property agreement classifies the 2 investment residences owned by Mary as her individual property and not marital property, that property will not be available to the bank in its efforts to collect on John's guarantee. The bank has also requested that Mary sign a spousal consent, acknowledging that she consents to John giving the guarantee. Why does the bank need this? The bank asks for a spousal consent as evidence that the spouse acknowledges that her marital property may be at risk if the bank has the right to pursue John's marital property to satisfy John's obligations under the guarantee. If there is no marital property, this would not be necessary. If there is marital property, a court will look to the terms of the marital property agreement to see what marital property, if any, is subject to the bank's guarantee. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me.